The female CEO of Archie Comics is being sued by 5 of her white male employees, and they're suing her for gender discrimination. They are alleging that she refused to refer to them by their first names and instead called them penis over and over again. In fact, they say that they would have their meetings, and during the meeting she would not call them by their names, and it really started to get on their nerves. They also allege that the CEO, Nancy Silberkleit, also had members of Hell Angels show up to the office to intimidate them, and that she kept making comments about a loaded gun that she had somewhere in the office to also intimidate them. Now, I should note, of course, these are just allegations. However, assuming these allegations are true, obviously she's in the wrong, but she doesn't seem to think she's in the wrong because she feels that all of these white males are not part of a protected class of people. Therefore, she can say whatever the hell she wants to say.
Okay, that's awesome. I don't know what part of this story that I love more, her name being Nancy Silberkleit. Okay, I just random. But then Jesus put up the picture of her, and it says here in the papers that during the staff meetings, she started yelling out, "Penis, penis, penis!" That's awesome. Okay, and obviously not awesome, and I denounce and reject her, if it's true. Third of all, I love her excuse. She says not only are they're not part of a protected class, so I can say whatever the hell I want about them, but that the allegations can't be true because, quote, she's rarely even in the office. I go around the world and promote Archie Comics. That's what I do. She says, that's what I do. Who doesn't want her job? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the CEO. I'm never in the office, but whenever I come in, I go in and start yelling, penis, penis, penis. Sounds like a pretty good job.
There's something wrong with this woman. Now, I have a little bit more of what she had to say. I do not act the way it's been reported. It's extremely damaging to myself and Archie Comics. Archie Comics, to me, stands for very high values that are global values. And that's where, after she said that, she mentioned that she traveled around the world and she promotes Archie Comics. But if this is true, right? If this is true, I absolutely despise women like this.
Why?
Cannot stand them because people will use women like this as an example of what feminism is. Like, see, this is what feminism is, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not the case, right? I believe in gender equality, okay? I believe in rights for men and women. There are cases where men get screwed when it comes to paternity and when it comes to things like that. When it comes to the law, usually they're prosecuted more harshly. But then you have terrible people like this woman who might purport to be some sort of feminist or something like that and might claim that she wants equality for women, and then she goes out there and she says these degrading things to men. First of all, even if this isn't a gender discrimination issue, you know what it is? It's a decency issue, right? If you want to boost the morale of your company, you don't go around belittling and saying negative things about your coworkers or your employees. That's disgusting. She should be fired right away. And to be honest with you, look, I'm speculating as to whether or not this is actually happening behind the scenes, but she's been sued in the past for similar behavior. She was sued by the former CEO, the other CEO of the company, Jonathan Goldwater. He claimed that she was unstable and bankrupting the company. That case was settled out of court for an unspecified amount of money. And then during that settlement, they agreed that there would be some sort of mediator between them. Some guy by the name of Samuel Levitin. He was supposed to facilitate communication with them. He ended up suing her too because he says that she was not easy to deal with, right? So that case is pending. All right, lady, you got a few lawsuits that you got to deal with, right?
Yeah, he said she was unhinged.
Yes.
So I want to come back to that context in a second. But first, look on this penis thing. Like at first, I saw Archie Comics. I'm like, it's a creative environment. It's a comic. As I'm reading the beginning part of the story, and I'm thinking if they're all comedians or they're in that business, and she's doing this joking around, and then they decide, oh, haha, we get to sue her for that. Well, then I would have been against them, right? But that's why you need the context, because in this case, no, she's the CEO. She's not in a creative meeting. She's not one of the guys or one of the gals or one of the company that's in an environment where they're kidding around with each other. No, she's being just outrageously offensive because she's apparently, in the context of all the accusation against her, unless they're all making it up independently, appears to be massively unhinged.
Yeah.
So they got to get her out of there. I mean, look, not only is she talking about grabbing a gun, as Anna alluded to, but she refers to 750 rounds of ammunition that that's in the office that she's going to get along with the gun at different times. And then when you see that, you see her shouting obscenities, you think, this is a dangerous person, and they got to deal with it in some way, and it ain't cool, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so there could be a situation, they're doing jokes at the Daily Show, and somebody's yelling out penis, the other one's yelling out pussy, whatever, who cares, right? This is not that situation.
No, it's not. When you refuse to refer to your colleagues or your employees by their first name and you call them something that they're offended by, and by the way, like they made it clear that they were offended by that. Refer to us by our first name, and she refused to do so. So obviously she has no respect for them, and no one should be a CEO if they have a lack of respect like that for their employees.
All right, like this is obvious, but just also say, look, if I'm in an office environment and somebody jokes around and calls me penis once, I don't care at all.
I mean, I know
right?
someone in the office that refers to you as dick.
Well, that's true, literally, right? Right. But if I'm a lawyer or I'm in a different environment, right, and the female partner doesn't call me Cenk, she just keeps calling, hey, penis, come over here and do this thing. You'd be like, what? Are you insane? Okay. And so imagine if a male boss called all of his coworkers, the people that worked under him,
pussy.
Hey, pussy, come over here.
Yeah.
What? Let alone the C word, right? It would be insane. And of course they'd be sued immediately, as they should be. And the same goes for her.